Hello and welcome to this thought for the day from the Chapel's Royal Her Majesty's Tower of London. Greetings and good health to you wherever you are. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of May, 2021. Yesterday, 17th of May, many COVID-related restrictions on social gatherings were lifted in most of this country. Significant quantities of ink have been devoted in the print media, and good knows how many terabytes of data in the digital media, to the question of hugging. Is it yet safe to hug? Whom should one hug? Should one ask before hugging? How should one hug? Should faces be turned away from each other when hugging? How about compromising by hugging while still wearing masks? Actually, last Sunday I indulged in that last variant, masked hugging, with an old acquaintance, and it had all the intimacy of shaking hands wearing rubber gloves. Not a satisfactory compromise. Why so much attention to this topic? Who, you might ask, are all these silly huggers? The protracted COVID experience has taught us many things and has no doubt much more to teach us, but one thing which has been clear is the damaging impact of not being able to have human contact for fear of infection in either direction. By human contact, I do not necessarily mean skin-to-skin contact, but simply the ability to be with one or more others in close proximity without fear of causing or suffering harm. Last Friday, we ate out with our family, including the two grandsons, at pavement tables to celebrate the older boy's 10th birthday. The Italian restaurant had rented the pavement space in front of two adjoining shops, so there was quite a crowd. We were outdoors and wearing our coats against the cool of a breezy early May evening, but frankly, we'd have stayed there even if it had started snowing. Why? For the simple pleasure of being at table with our loved ones. Physical proximity matters. Physical proximity matters. That is hardly news, but its absence has borne in on us what happens when we're deprived of company. One of the harshest punishments in any prison regime, short of actual physical torture, is solitary confinement. People who have survived it have reported everything from hallucinations to suicidal thoughts. Hallucinations because, deprived of real company, the mind tries to compensate by creating voices and visions that are not present. And suicidal thoughts because for most people, to be deprived of company is akin to death anyway. Confused people in care have gone through isolation, which has seemed to them to be like solitary confinement, and they have suffered not only mentally and emotionally, but even physically as a result. Unconfused people in their own homes who felt the need to isolate themselves because of vulnerability to infection have suffered similarly. Why so? All of life is, I maintain, psychosomatic. By that, I mean that all of life involves both mind and body, and the two affect each other in an endless feedback loop. People with physical illness become mentally depressed. Depression lowers the effectiveness of the immune system. Depressed people are therefore more likely to succumb to illness, which will add to their depression, and so on. At the root of this is the fact that human beings are social creatures. We need contact with others in order to construct and maintain our own identities and sense of well-being. That may be work contact, social contact, or more intimate contact, but one way or another we need relationship, and that relationship needs physical expression. Sustained deprivation of human contact does harm. I'm struck by the fact that Jesus sought out and healed people who were shunned and isolated by society because of their physical or mental conditions, what appear to have been leprosy, epilepsy, and so forth. In healing them, he restored them to society, to the ability to mix with their families and others, to participate in gatherings, and, not least, to be able to touch other people without fear on either side. Even so, I imagine that some sense of reserve would have been felt on both sides for quite a while. It takes time to re-establish normality. So, as we emerge from our prolonged and spasmodic lockdowns, we shall cautiously try to return to our old habits of social mixing in twos or more. We need to acknowledge that some people will feel damaged by their experience of the past 14 or so months, and that damage will take time to heal. Perhaps we should spend less time reading up on novel hugging techniques and simply respect others and the extent to which they feel able to return to normal physical contact. In doing so, we could do worse than to exercise little empathy and ask ourselves how we would feel in their shoes. Jesus said it for us. Love your neighbor as yourself.